Hi, how are you? Fine. Good, good, really good. Great. Right, we get asked this question all the time. How are you? And I know in my life I am so fortunate to experience that most of the time. I really am genuinely good, except when I'm triggered. Can you relate? It's those things that come up and just make you go, oh, that ain't right. Grr, my hands come up on my hip. That would be my anger response. Other ones feel more wounded of like, how is that possible? How could you? All of those reactions have a tendency to look out. Something is wrong here. Something is wrong with the world. Something is wrong with you. Something's wrong with them. There's something sometimes wrong with me, but something is wrong. We are in what I otherwise call an argument with reality, and it is not fun, but it does happen a lot. So, our job is to become unstuck and find freedom and actually more expansion to use those situations in that pursuit. And so, this next week, we are going to be visiting how it is that we become unstuck. But first, we have to get underneath it and get into the anatomy, the schema of what stuck looks like. There's a very familiar model for this. It's called the Karpman Drama Triangle. It was put together by Stephen Karpman, a psychiatrist in the 1960s. So it's been in use for a long time. We have found that when you really use it, it's quite powerful. And so I want to introduce it to you now in advance of your work for this next week, where you will be asked to choose a situation in your life that hopefully is current or maybe recurrent, super familiar with you, and it's still got you hooked a little bit. For me, I know that as soon as I am hooked, I'm suddenly strategizing about how to make it better, how to fix it. Surely I have to address this. And as leaders, it often is our job to do that. But first, let's take a look at the triangle. It looks like this. So we can see in the Karpman drama triangles, the heart of drama is conflict. It's a power struggle, in fact. We are saying there's something or someone wrong here. Not right. It is not right. We want to fix it. And yet, the problem when we want to fix it is that we really just start to circulate around the triangle. It's fascinating. And we will dig into that when we're together. So, when we see a problem, we think there is a fixing to do. There's other information in here for us. Just you wait. We also notice that when we identify the roles and the shifts, that we get that higher perspective such that we now have some choices and can use the tools which will teach you to start to shift into a more liberated state of being. You'll notice that the victim is someone who goes, oh, I feel like this wasn't deserved and that somehow I'm bearing the brunt of it. I'm unsupported, small, really feel vulnerable. And underneath the victim state is, it's not my responsibility. This happened to me. The bully, and just mind you, we all inhabit these positions. Someone who criticizes, judges, blames, shames, punishes others. We notice that very often when we're trying to fix something, this is my vulnerability, I may move into, I know how to do this. Persecutes, you're wrong, let's correct it. Rigid, domineering, bossy. Yeah, can you relate to any of that? The hero, on the other hand, is often a peacekeeping situation or a role in which you want to take up slack for others. It can be meddling, in part because it feels good to help others. It can have a difficulty saying no, enjoys the feeling of connection, and there's a reflex of, I feel really competent when someone's dependent on me. And we may not be seeing this for ourselves, but in fact, these are some of the dynamics that can be there. So, the tricky part for us as leaders is that it is our job, or it is our job to address conflict. We have others that we are leading. We have a culture we want to keep, smooth, and that conflict is something that can come up and find some release in it and hopefully be teaching for others as well. So we may be identified as people who are good fixers. We probably wouldn't be in leadership positions if we weren't, in fact. The tricky part can be at its extreme is that we become very identified with that. And in fact, it can be a way of walking through the world. Like I know a lot. And I'm also very deft or skilled in doing this. And in some cases, the identity can become so strong that even the suggestion of victimhood can be a trigger in itself. It's repulsive. So we have had that experience and found that, in fact, in those situations, digging into the drama triangle has been transformative, like a 180. So I just want to acknowledge that you may feel all kinds of ways about this, but that doing the work is going to be really, I think, quite fruitful for you. So your assignment for this next week is to choose a situation that is current or maybe a recurrent dynamic in your life where you can describe the situation very plainly, cleanly, simply, and then identify who is in each position. The who can be a group, it can be a social sector, it can be anything, but very often drama triangles, power struggles are relational. So it is very likely it feels a little bit more personal for you. The good news is that in our session, we will follow up with some really strong tools that get us up into that perspective taking situation so that we can make choices and find the liberation and freedom that we seek. And that also expands us in that quest to meet reality as it is and have a heart that's big enough to hold it all. Look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.